Hey now.
Hey now. How you doing, everybody? Welcome to Scott Fox After 9. The countdown to the holidays is on. What a great time of year. Today in the pod, we're going to talk about something that I have been advocating for a number of years now. I got this idea one day that we could do something more than we're currently doing with Niagara Falls, Canada. Niagara Falls is great. It's got the falls, a natural attraction that people like to see. And they kind of flirted a little bit with putting in some casinos and a couple of entertainment options, but they didn't really double down on it. It sounds now like we're ready to double down. Yesterday, Ontario Premier Doug Ford came out and laid out his plan. I'm going to play for you the Premier's news conference coming up in just a few minutes. Before I get to that, though, I've heard from a lot of people over the last couple of days on a number of different things, and I just want to acknowledge a couple of them. Number one, to all the Jewish people that listen to After 9, you didn't need to write me yesterday, but I appreciate that you did. I am an ally for anyone who wants to peacefully practice their faith. And yes, I think it's deplorable what happened on Bondi Beach in Australia on Sunday. So I was happy to talk about that yesterday. Unfortunately, you're not getting a lot of great news coverage from the mainstream media. Now, I've also heard from a lot of people who have been watching the news over the last couple of days, and it's starting to click. I think people are starting to realize it. Every time you turn on the news and see a story about Pierre Poilievre's leadership for the Conservative Party, that's the news not talking about the current financial crisis that we're in, not holding the government to account, not doing anything productive except trying to snowplow things for the federal Liberal Party. More and more people are noticing it. I'm getting notes all hours of the day. Scott, I was listening to a newscast in Brandon, Manitoba, and all they did was talk about Pierre Poilievre. Stuff like that doesn't surprise me. I'm glad people are waking up to it because this is, like I said yesterday, a full court press to try and discredit Pierre Poilievre because they want conservatives to turn on him because the government does not want to run against Pierre Poilievre in a federal election this fall when all indications are the economy is going to be really bad. The housing market stalled. And lo and behold, we are not our own best customer yet. So thank you to everybody who has reached out on a couple of different topics. There were more, but I'm going to touch on those throughout the week. And if you missed the announcement yesterday, I had a great episode yesterday. I covered a lot of different topics. Tomorrow, I will tell you a little bit more about the plan for the pod in 2026. Also tomorrow, a silent date update. There's going to be 2 episodes tomorrow. One of them, the silent date update that a lot of people have been asking me for. So now with all of that out of the way, I think we're ready to jump into the pod today. And we'll start off in Niagara Falls, Canada. This is Ontario Premier Doug Ford.
Because folks, Niagara has the potential to be a true tourism powerhouse and a world-class destination that drives Ontario's economy and keep tens of thousands of Ontario workers on the job. And we're doing everything we can to unlock that potential. With tariffs and economic uncertainty taking direct aim at our economy, targeting Ontario workers and businesses is more important than ever that we support new opportunities for workers and attract new jobs and investments, including in Ontario's tourism industry. Here in Niagara, the tourism sector already brings in $3 billion every single year, with more than 13 million visitors coming to Niagara from across Ontario and around the world. And Stan, you said it bang on. You go anywhere in the world, or Mayor as well, you go anywhere in the world, ask them where Toronto is. They aren't 100% sure. Ask them where Niagara Falls is. They know exactly where Niagara Falls is. Now we say it's an hour from Toronto. Give them a rough ballpark figure there.
What a weird analogy. Okay, I think most people know where Toronto is, but aren't 100% sure where Niagara is. But I certainly get the sentiment that there's a lot of interest in Niagara Falls. So let's talk a little bit about what Premier Ford is about to announce here. When it comes to gambling, building on the success of existing casinos and gaming experiences and exploring options to potentially expand the market to multiple world-class casinos, which could attract new hotels, entertainment, and top-tier dining options. I'm here for all of that. I really do think that we need a place to go here in Ontario. This is a big enough area that we could have more entertainment options. But right now, all the options are spread out. When you put everything in Niagara Falls, and you get a couple more casinos and hotels there, a couple more entertainment venues there. You watch how quickly the crowds are going to come, and you watch how quickly we're going to put in some great restaurants. The top restaurateurs are going to be lining up to put a restaurant, Michelin star quality, in that area if we have the hotels and infrastructure to go around with it. So I think that that's good as far as attracting some new businesses to the area. When it comes to tourism attractions, the province says they're going to develop a new visitor experience to appeal to new tourists and encourage longer stays. The revitalization of the Toronto Power Generation Station into a boutique hotel is already underway. Potential projects include a new theme park, redevelopment of the Ontario Power Generating Station, a new observation wheel, and the revitalization of the Niagara Parks Marina. The marina will be cool. Sure, line up some boats. You can boat there. It's right where Lake Ontario meets Lake Erie. The power generating station, I don't know what they're going to do with that, but I'm pretty sure they can make it into something cool. Theme parks is an interesting one. Here in the center of Ontario, Vaughan, Ontario, we have something called Canada's Wonderland, a Cedar Fair amusement park with some of the best rides and roller coasters in Canada. I don't think it needs to be right in the heart of a populated area. Back when they built Canada's Wonderland, Vaughan was up in cow country. Toronto wasn't even close to expanding up there. But now the GTA has expanded a lot. And Canada's Wonderland has taken up some pretty prime real estate right next to Vaughan Mills Shopping Centre. I think it would make sense to move Canada's Wonderland down to Niagara Falls. And maybe that's what they've got planned. We also have Marineland down at Niagara Falls, just sitting there with a bunch of belugas in a small little tank swimming around. We've got to get those belugas out of there first and foremost. And then do we rip it down or do we develop it into a new amusement park? I really don't know what the plan is, but I'm here for it. Here's more of Ontario Premier Doug Ford.
And improve the region's transportation network with the ambitious goal of attracting 25 million annual visitors and generating $3 billion of additional revenue for Niagara every year. We want to double the number of visitors who come to Niagara every year, and we want to double the amount of time that they spend in Niagara, enjoying all it has to offer and supporting the local economy. Our strategy is built on 5 pillars, and I'll just run through them. First, we're going to build new must-see attractions. Imagine a theme park with rides and games and all-new Niagara River line with an electric tram running 3.8 kilometers through Queen's Victoria Park with unmatched views of Niagara Falls. We've also welcoming the revitalization of the Toronto Power Generating Station into a boutique hotel and attraction with a spa, art gallery, and a free museum. I'm happy to say work has already begun on redeveloping the station into the region's first and only 5-star boutique hotel, a project funded entirely through more than $300 million private sector investment. We're working with private investors in Niagara Parks to revitalize the marina at Miller's Creek into a quality recreation destination and working to develop an observation wheel just like those in London and Las Vegas that will overlook the falls. All these attractions will draw people from around the world, helping families and children make memories that will last a lifetime.
You know, I think it's a great idea. I really do. I know there's probably some people listening to this pod thinking a number of things. What is Doug Ford's obsession with booze and gambling? That's a good question. The premier would have to answer that one, but one thing I would say about that is gambling and booze generates a hell of a lot of revenue. You know, we talk about how long it takes to get projects built in Ontario. If we're talking about building a casino, oh, get ready. That thing is going to get done quick. There will be absolutely zero construction delays, and that thing is going to be up faster than you could probably build a house of cards. Certain industries just get stuff done real quick, and I got to think that that's a big part of it. Now, circling back on some of the things that the premier said he wants to put in Niagara, he does want to attract people from all around the world. That's going to require a new airport. Right now, if you want to go to Niagara Falls, you can fly into Buffalo, New York. Not exactly close to the falls, though. You could fly into Hamilton, Ontario, which is about 40 minutes from the falls, or you could fly into Toronto, which is about an hour from the falls. Nothing really all that close, but there is an airport in Niagara on the lake. That's only about 10, 15 minutes from the falls. Apparently, part of the transportation development plan includes improved access to the Niagara Regional Airport. Okay, good. Are they going to expand it and allow bigger planes to land? I don't know how the folks in Niagara on the lake are going to feel about that, but it probably would bring in more people. They're also going to have the twinning of the Garden City Skyway. That is a big bridge that crosses over the Welland Canal, and that allows you to get in and out of the Niagara region. Right now, it's just a westbound and an eastbound. They're going to put one whole bridge for westbound and another whole bridge for eastbound. They're building a second bridge to get people to Niagara. They're increasing GO train service so that if you land at the Toronto airport, you can take the Up Express down to Union Station, and then you can take the GO train from Union Station right to Niagara Falls. That's convenient, but I think that we could do better. The question is all of this going to work? They're going to have that new tram there that they say will give you a great view of the falls. Great. That's the best part about Niagara Falls is the falls. Is this enough, though, to make you want to go there? More restaurants that are world class, more casinos, more performance venues, more tourism options, more attractions. Is that enough to make you want to go and turn Niagara Falls into the Las Vegas of the North? And how do people in Niagara Falls feel about that? I feel like we're just kind of doing this. I don't know if we actually asked anybody in Niagara Falls, but I think this has got to get done. I think this is a great idea. Now, in Vegas, you can do some excursions. For example, you could take a helicopter ride to the Grand Canyon. Well, we don't have a Grand Canyon in Niagara Falls, but we do have a Grand Canyon. It's Niagara Falls itself. That's a neat little thing. Maybe we could do some helicopter rides through the canyon. Or they really want people to go to wine country. See, Niagara is Canada's wine country. They say there is an exceptional agritourism industry there with recognized wine and culinary sectors promoting broader culinary tourism, including the region's many prestigious restaurants and the beer and spirits sector. I mean, say it however you want. They make a lot of wine and people like winery tours. Again, I think this is a great idea. Maybe you're thinking, Scott, this government should focus on education and healthcare. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I don't always think that the government has its priorities straight, but the nice thing about this one is it doesn't seem to require much of an investment from the people. It seems like the private sector is probably going to fuel this growth in Niagara Falls. I'm going to leave the falls part of it there, but there was a Q&A with the Premier and a couple of different topics came up. Let's get to the media speaking to Premier Ford.
First question.
Hi, everyone. It's Randy Rathwood, CHTV. Premier, the other day, you told us that regarding the issue of selling off the booze that was pulled off the shelves of the LCBO and donating the proceeds to charity, that you would speak to the LCBO officials about that. And I'm wondering if you've had that conversation and if you made a decision about that.
I did, but it's not as easy as it sounds. We just can't sell it off, and I'm not going to do that during Christmas holidays when it will hurt our wineries, it will hurt our distilleries, and it's just not going to happen. I want to support local jobs and opportunities here, but if we find a buyer maybe in another province, that'd be different. But folks, keep in mind, people are coming up with all these wild ideas. I've never seen people so interested in liquor. But guys, this is the LCBO's money. It's no one else's. In return, it's Ontario's money. So it's the taxpayers' money that own LCBO. And if we can get rid of it out of province somewhere, we will. But I'm not going to hurt the wineries here or the distilleries or anyone else. So go out there. Buy Ontario booze, no matter if it's wine, whiskey, vodka, whatever is made here, and support the local industry.
Okay, and he lost me. He completely lost all that goodwill from coming up with a great idea that was actually my idea, and now he lost me just like that. This is Ontario Premier Doug Ford, who acted like a complete and total tyrant during COVID, trying to tell people what they can and can't do, where they can and can't go, who they can and can't hang out with. And I'm glad that he's off of that. Seemed like we had a return to normalcy for a while until the Donald Trump stuff came along, and he's lost it again. What did he say there? That we can't sell off the U.S. booze for a number of different reasons. He's kind of scrambling to come up with a good reason because I don't even know if he could come up with a good reason. Let me offer a counter to what the premier said. It's not as easy as you think. I have no doubt it's not as easy as people think. There's probably a lot to coordinate, but I also know that there's approximately 100 different people that work in Premier Ford's office. No, I'm serious. That's how many people work for him on his staff. We also have the entire LCBO. I'm sure that we could find a few smart people between the LCBO office and Queen's Park to figure this out. And by the way, they did figure it out in Nova Scotia, in Newfoundland and Labrador, and they figured it out in Manitoba. So I don't buy that from Premier Ford. He seemed to be suggesting that we can't do it now because it'll hurt the local wine and beer and cider industry. That's not Doug Ford's job, and it's not our job to care. We want to buy the best product at the best price, the most convenient, and whatever other factors go into it. I don't care where it's from. I truly do not care. I want what I want, and if I can't get it, I'm going to probably not buy anything. I'm not buying any Ontario alcohol whatsoever. Zero. I haven't been to the LCBO since this madness began, where Doug Ford decided to try and tell people what they are and aren't allowed to drink. Basically, what Doug Ford is saying is the Ontario alcohol industry can only prosper when it has zero competition from Americans. We cannot keep these businesses going if they have to compete with the Americans. Is that what it is, Doug? Because frankly, again, then they probably shouldn't be in business. You know, he tried to throw something in there like, this is the people's money. This is the LCBO's money. Yes, it belongs to the people, and you already paid for it. You already paid for it with the taxpayers' money, so give it back. Sell it. Recoup the cost at least. And when finally cooler heads prevail and we get some adults running the situation here, we should get back to the way things were. Punishing regular Ontarians who don't care about this elbows up BS, who don't care about any other factors. They just want what they want, or they want whatever's the best value, or they want whatever's the best price. Being forced to buy Ontario alcohol is obscene. It is unbecoming. Doug Ford is running it like it's his own personal company, and that is a major fault on this government. They still do not understand the message that you have to let adults be adults and make their own choices. If people don't want to buy American booze, if they believe the elbows up BS, fine. They won't buy American booze. Me personally, I'm buying zero booze until common sense prevails and we bring back the stuff that people want. Why do we even have an LCBO if it doesn't sell everything? How has not one lawyer not challenged the government's liquor monopoly in Ontario? It's crazy. We need to get the government out of the booze business because this is what they do. I'm not going to give you guys something you want and something that would make sense financially on every level. I'm not doing it because I want to try and save whatever dirty little winery there is in Prince Edward County. I don't accept that. If the wine is that good, or the cider or the beer is that good, people will buy it. Full stop. If it's the best value or the best price, people will buy it. Making it people buy it because it's the only thing available is complete and total madness. Premier Ford, dead wrong on that one, but I still love this Niagara idea. Here's the next question.
Okay, thanks for that. Also, people in these parts, they used to go across the border constantly. People go over, have some wings, they go over, get a couple of groceries. Canadians are no longer flying to Florida. They're not being, the snowbirds have basically, it's dried up. There's been an organic boycott of tourism into America. Do you support that? And are you going to go to Florida this year?
So let me tell you, it's going to be the first time I'm not going to Florida. But I talked to so many people. Don't let this guy, Trump, determine and ruin your life and everything. That's my personal choice.
I'm going to tell you here, Doug Ford is the one who is letting Donald Trump dictate everything and control his life. This guy has got an obsession with Donald Trump. Listen to him talk. He can't even say the name without grinding his teeth. We need leadership here, folks. We need cooler heads to prevail. We need a government that is not going to tell people what they can and cannot drink. We need someone who's not going to fly off the handle every time the president of the United States' name gets mentioned. This ain't it.
So maybe some families have gone to Florida their whole lives. Go to Florida. That's great. But I encourage you to stay here and support local tourism. But you can't let the one tyrant change your lives, right? You just can't let it happen. I'm doing it out of my own personal choice because I just can't do it. But don't let this guy change your lives. If you go down and you see, maybe their grandparents are down there, maybe they're somewhere else. So we'll get through this. But they're hurting down there right now. They're hurting on all fronts. They're hurting on their economy. President Trump is at the lowest rating that any president has been in the first year, and God knows probably 100 years. So it's taking effect. And I always say, we love our American friends, and the Americans love Canadians. And there's just one guy I just don't see eye to eye with us, President Trump. So we'll keep fighting, and I'll never apologize to that guy ever.
That's a weird thing to say because nobody asked him to apologize. Did Carney ask him to apologize? Because I don't think the media is asking Doug Ford to apologize to Donald Trump. But you can hear the hatred there, right? You can hear it. And, at first I respected it. It was great. Okay, cool. Thanks for looking out for Ontario. But now it's just irritating. And you know what? It comes off fake now. Do you guys feel that too? Listening to this guy drone on and on and on. He just sounds like your annoying uncle. Like, stop. Yes, he put tariffs on us. Yes, we put tariffs on a whole ton of other people. For the Premier of Ontario to call the President of the United States a tyrant. Maybe we should talk about how many people feel Doug Ford is a tyrant. Maybe we should talk about that. I don't want to have to do this where every time Doug Ford points out a fault in America, I've got to try and find one here to try and balance it out. But there is a lot of similarities between Doug Ford and Donald Trump. They're the same guy in a lot of different ways when it comes to their personal style. I want Doug Ford to run Ontario. I want Donald Trump to run America, and I want them to stop pissing each other off. How about that? That'd be great. How about we just focus on things here in Ontario, Doug, and we start treating adults like adults and give them the choice that adults deserve? Do you remember this? We had to go through this during COVID. I thought we got over this. And now here we are right back to it, where one guy is going to decide what you can and can't drink. He even acknowledged it's not his. It belongs to the people. But he's still actively interfering in it.
Good morning, Premier. Megan Fitzpatrick from CBC News. This strategy mentions the idea of a new theme park here in Niagara, but there are a lot of local residents that are wondering about the old theme park of Marineland. What do you have to say to local residents who are concerned nothing's happening with that site currently? They want something there. It would create jobs. It would create economic activity. So what do you have to say to them, and what is the latest on that site and the animals there?
Well, on that site, Marineland's in charge of it. It's not a government site. Everyone thinks it's a government site. It's not. And I'm an animal lover. I hope the whales survive. They get treated properly. Maybe someone's going to go in there and take over the site and give them a better way of living because they're stuck in a small little area. It bothers me. But that's Marineland. They want to come in and put an offer to Ontario. Well, we'll look at it. But when we go out there, and Stan does this, and I know the mayor does it as well, we go out and we ask people, we take surveys. The number one attraction, which I wasn't surprised, are theme parks. So, back in the day when my kids were little, the Marineland ad would come on, and they'd be jumping up and down. Next thing you know, I'd be going to Marineland. And it's going to be the same, I think, when we build a lot of different options and attractions. Do you want to say anything, Sam? Go ahead.
No, we don't need to hear from the minister here. Hey, listen, I think that theme parks are a great idea. Whether it's moving Canada's Wonderland, attracting a new theme park, or reviving Marineland, I don't care. But I'm also not all that happy with the way Doug Ford is fluffing off that question. It's not the Ontario government's problem. Well, it kind of is. Marineland told us months ago they were down to like a month left and then they were going to be broke. The province is in charge of inspections. I would think that if Marineland fails inspection, and there's no reason to think they'll pass, wouldn't the province step in? They would in other senses if it was a farm or something like that. Why wouldn't the province get involved? And was he suggesting that the province might buy Marineland if Marineland makes them an offer? I have a lot more questions here, but I'm going to leave it. I think it's a great idea that we try and redevelop Niagara Falls with a focus of making it much more of a destination for adults at night and families during the day. I think that makes perfect sense. The Premier is dead wrong about not selling off that U.S. booze. He is coming up with excuses, and frankly, none of them pass the smell test. I think he should get involved when it comes to Marineland. I think that just plain needs to get done. And yes, he's still wildly triggered by Donald Trump, but that's a him thing, and hopefully he's talking to somebody about it. I'm going to move on, though. Since the topic of what to do with all that U.S. booze did come up, let's hear from the Ontario interim Liberal Party leader, John Fraser. He's one who had been trying to get the Ford government to put that U.S. booze back on the shelf, sell it off so that we make back our money, and then donate all of the money to food banks and shelters. Here's John Fraser.
If you don't want to see $2 million with American alcohol poured down the drain, then you need to call Doug Ford, 416-325-1941. You know, there's about $2 million worth of American alcohol that's set to expire, and it's just going to go down the drain. We could use that money to support Ontario's food banks. So if you think that's right, if you believe in that, give Doug Ford a call, 416-325-1941.
Doug Ford answers his phone from time to time. I think that's very great that he does that. Very few leaders would give out their cell phone and actually answer it when they do, but Doug Ford does. You just heard the number there from John. If you feel strongly that this should be fixed, you should call Doug Ford and tell him we need to sell off the U.S. booze. And no, saying that it's a lot more than you think, or there's a lot more to it than you think, just stop. We have more than enough civil servants in this province that are qualified and capable. I know that they could come up with a solution. And if they can't, give me 10 minutes and I will script it out on the back of a napkin for you and give you a plan that will work. That's what I do. Anyway, good words there from John Fraser. And I really do hope that common sense prevails and that we get this booze back on the shelf. We sell it off for a good cause, and then we can talk about what we do going forward and if we order more U.S. booze in the future. But I will not be going to the LCBO in any way. I will not support that business as long as they are discriminating against the Americans. The American companies that did absolutely nothing wrong, that have been great to work with at the LCBO over the years, we have slapped them in the face, and we've done something that the U.S. never did to us. They didn't ban our alcohol, but we banned theirs. Doug said he wants to maybe sell it to other provinces. Why would other provinces buy it? Most of them have banned it too. And that's wrong there as well. I'm going to move on here. Candace Owens. You likely know her from the Charlie Kirk saga. She has been suggesting for a while now that the story we've been told about the assassination of Charlie Kirk is not how it happened. Well, that puts her at odds with Erika Kirk, the late Charlie's wife. And they've been going back and forth with a bit of a pissing contest, arguing, accusations, yada, yada, yada. On Monday, yesterday, they sat down for a 4.5-hour meeting to try and clear the air. I'm going to play a little bit of a video that Candace Owens released last night. This could give us a bit of an indication of where this is going.
4.5 hours later, I'm alive. I'm alive. I'm totally fine, and I'm sorry. I was going to do a show for you guys this evening, but I am truly exhausted. Very productive conversation. I asked every single question. I mean, from Egyptian planes to Turning Point USA Faith, and I was very surprised by some of the answers that I got, and I think they were also very surprised when I shared certain intel. This probably should have happened a very long time ago, but I wanted to let you guys know that I am alive, and I will have the full rundown for you guys tomorrow of what transpired. And yeah, I think it was definitely a very big step in the right direction. So I'll see you guys tomorrow.
I think that's really interesting. I mean, there's a lot of people, namely because Candace Owens has been pushing this narrative that the assassination of Charlie Kirk is not the way the FBI and the government told us it went down. Well, now she's actually met with Erika Kirk, and it seems like they found a little bit of common ground. I think that's great news, but now I want to know what they found out. I want to know what they learned from each other, and I want to know if the two of them can go forward together or if they're going to continue to fracture the movement. Turning Point USA stays with Erika Kirk, and Candace Owens does her own thing that rivals it. I don't really want to get to that point. There's a lot of people that count on the Turning Point USA platforms and movement to try and stay informed, to try and stay politically active. And I don't want to see that get tarnished because of rumors, conspiracy theories, maybe, about what really might or might not have happened to Charlie Kirk. I really don't know enough about it. People message me all the time. But what about this and what about that? I don't know. I mean, I wasn't there. I'm not a ballistics expert. I know what I saw on TV, and what I saw was a bullet hit his vest and then go through his neck, and it killed him almost instantly. That's what I saw. Is there more to the story? Possibly, but I don't know what that is. I'd really like to see some unity there between Candace Owens and Erika Kirk, and somebody just tell us either that is what happened or that's not what happened. But it is nice to see that they are talking. I thought that was good news. You may have heard yesterday, Ford is basically canceling the F-150 Lightning. Turns out electric F-150 trucks were too expensive for the market, or people just plain wanted a gas-powered truck. Their CEO, Jim Farley, yesterday appeared on CNBC to talk about Ford, at least temporarily, getting out of the Lightning business.
So the last couple of months have been really clear to us. The EV market shrank to about 5% of the U.S. market, but more importantly, the very high-end EVs, the $50,000, $70,000, $80,000 vehicles, they just weren't selling. And we had planned a full EV lineup, but we also have hybrids, and we learned a lot about the market. And we think it was the right time to listen to the customers. We evaluated the market, and we made the call. We're following customers to where the market is, not where people thought it was going to be, but where it is today, Phil. And that's really the genesis of our announcement. Be better for the company's profitability, better for shareholders, and a lot of new American jobs. These are affordable trucks and vans. They're in the heart of what Ford knows how to do. They'll be hybrid and E-Revs, very profitable vehicles. You know, we know these customers really well. We're not guessing. And we have a great EV platform in the UEV that's affordable at $30,000. We think we have the best portfolio of any auto company in the U.S. And we now get to focus as a team on bringing all those products to market, and it gives our Model E business, effectively our EV business, a road to profitability, which did not exist a month ago.
Wow, that is just wild. That's the president of Ford saying a path to profitability in the EV market didn't exist before they canceled this EV. Yeah, they were too expensive. There's still a lot of questions about EV technology, and that's totally fair. And the fact that the government tried to mandate it. Government mandating what car you have to drive is wrong. I'm glad we're backing off on these EV mandates, at least they have in America, and it's already spawning a little bit of innovation. You likely heard the president there, Jim Farley, talk about an E-Rev. That's an EREV, an extended range electric vehicle. But it's not an electric vehicle like you think. It's basically a hybrid. It's got a gas generator that can recharge the battery pack to power the motor. By definition, that's a hybrid vehicle, and that's what Ford's going to build. And frankly, I think that that's the one that interests the most people anyway. Yeah, electric vehicles are great. I know some people have got them, and they love them. I would be kind of interested, but I'm much more interested in the hybrid option. A little bit of gas that powers some of the electrical. That's the way we need to move forward. That, I think, is where the future is. A couple more things I want to touch on here before I wrap up this episode. The latest in the Brown University investigation. They still do not have that shooter. And it's not really hard to figure out why when you listen to this bunch of bumbling people at the podium doing the news conference. Here's a little bit. I'll play you 1 minute from yesterday.
President Donald Trump has said that Brown University is to blame for this shooting and saying it's the school's problem. Is that a fair criticism, or do you disagree with what the president said?
I don't think it's fair criticism.
Colonel, can you expand on that?
Why not? Because Brown University is not collaborating with you guys. You're lying to the press over here. They have facial recognition. We know that because they follow the student, they follow everybody in the neighborhood. Facial recognition. They need to release that data. So everybody know who the guy in the video. We got the video Saturday. Why you guys release the video today?
Governor, this is the question.
Listen, Colonel, I would just...
John, please, just for a second. A couple things. First of all, Brown University and Brown Public Safety, Brown Police Department has been a close collaborator throughout this process.
That's not true.
I do not accept that criticism.
Oh, come on. We know that.
Secondly, everyone you see behind us, we've all been working for now 49 hours. We're tired.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know how any crime gets solved then. We're tired. We've been working real hard. Like the media is screaming questions at these people and they just can't seem to answer them. And that's the response. Listen, we're tired. Okay, all right. I don't know how much comfort that is for the families of the victims, though. I really don't. I don't know if this is a Rhode Island problem or if this is a university problem or what the deal is, but either way, they are not making a whole lot of progress in that investigation. Now I'm going to play some audio for you from President Trump. Yesterday, he was speaking in Washington, and he did a number of different things here. A couple of different topics came up that are interesting. First off, here's the president talking about fentanyl.
Today, I'm taking one more step to protect Americans from the scourge of deadly fentanyl flooding into our country. With this historic executive order I will sign today, we're formally classifying fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction, which is what it is. No bomb does what this is doing. 200 to 300,000 people die every year that we know of. So we're formally classifying fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction.
Listen to the contrast between the Americans and the Canadians. The Americans have now gone that extra step and declared fentanyl a weapon of mass destruction because of its ability to kill mass amounts of people very quickly. Now, in contrast, here in Canada, we were handing it out to people for free. That was part of our safe supply thing. We were giving it to people, some of them who ended up reselling it and keeping the money to buy more illicit stuff. Fentanyl is now a weapon of mass destruction in America, and we were giving it away to junkies. Unbelievable. Speaking of drugs, the president was asked yesterday about marijuana.
Is it accurate that you are considering an executive order to reclassify marijuana?
We are considering that, yeah.
Okay, are you planning?
Because a lot of people want to see it, the reclassification, because it leads to tremendous amounts of research that can't be done unless you reclassify. So we are looking at that very strongly.
Okay, I mean, I think that's good. I think that's long overdue. It's amazing it didn't get done under Biden, but I guess Trump is going to be the guy who is officially going to take marijuana out of that class of drugs that makes it like super illegal and just makes it more of like a petty crime or misdemeanor. Or you know what? Just legalize it. Do it on a federal level. It's working here in Canada. I wish they would do the same in America. And I think by and large, Americans could get behind it. You only need to look at Canada as an example of how this could be done. Now, the president took a lot of criticism yesterday, and rightfully so. After the death of Rob Reiner, I didn't talk about that in yesterday's episode because as I was doing the episode, there was still information coming down, and I didn't want to put out something that wasn't accurate or may have been misleading. But it looks like now they have formally charged the son with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Sad story. Looks like he murdered his parents in cold blood. Well, after the death, President Trump put out a truth or a tweet or something. It was on social media, and it was wildly inappropriate. It doesn't matter if you don't like somebody. You have to be a little respectful when someone passes away. When they can't defend themselves, making accusations towards them is wildly inappropriate. But that's what Donald Trump did. This guy's got no filter whatsoever. Sent out a really horrible message about Rob Reiner and his wife and suggested that maybe it was his Trump derangement syndrome that got him killed. That is completely unnecessary and unbecoming for the president of the United States. He did get asked about that yesterday with the media. This is his response. This is about 40 seconds long.
Mr. President, a number of Republicans have denounced your statement on Truth Social after the murder of Rob Reiner. Do you stand by that post?
Well, I wasn't a fan of his at all. He was a deranged person as far as Trump is concerned. He said he knew it was false. In fact, it's the exact opposite, that I was a friend of Russia, controlled by Russia. You know, it was the Russia hoax. He was one of the people behind it. I think he hurt himself in career-wise. He became like a deranged person, Trump derangement syndrome. So I was not a fan of Rob Reiner at all in any way, shape, or form. I thought he was very bad for our country, yeah.
Not even apologizing, like not even a mea culpa. That's just not necessary. It's disrespectful. You can think whatever you want about Rob Reiner. I didn't like him either. I really didn't. I didn't like his politics. I didn't like the way he used his platform to try and influence voters. I didn't like anything about it. But you don't take a victory dance on somebody's grave. So rude. Before I go, there is one more set of audio that I want to play for you because if you're a longtime listener, you probably know I am a diehard Buffalo Bills fan. I love the Bills, and I think the Bills are going to the Super Bowl this year, and I think they might even win it. I put a bet on day one of the NFL season. Day one of the season, way back in September. I bet $5. Buffalo Bills, Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl. If that happens, that $5 bet pays out $195, and I'm pretty optimistic that that bet is going to hit. Go Bills and go Birds. On the weekend, though, when Josh Allen was putting on an absolute clinic against the Eagles in the second half, a lot of people pointed out, oh my God, Josh Allen just threw up on the sidelines. And I thought, no, he can't get sick now. We need him. He was asked about it after the game on Sunday. Let me play this for you.
Josh, how are you physically? The broadcast showed you a little bit on the side.
I mean, if they don't catch it every game, I don't know. Like it basically happens every game. If I don't get enough out pregame, it usually happens at halftime. If I don't get enough at halftime, it usually happens in the third or fourth quarter, and that's just, I don't know why I do it. It just happens, and it's due to nothing else but other than just like a weird feeling. Just got to get it out.
Oh, that is a weird thing. You throw up every game. I've heard certainly of people that are just exerting such incredible physical energy that their body just contracts and they throw up. I don't think that that's what's going on here. Is it nerves? Is it something else? I don't know. Either way, he says don't worry about it. He does it every game, so I'm not going to worry about it. After the game, though, he did talk to a reporter, and he gave a nice shout out to his wife, and she's pregnant, by the way. Congratulations to Josh and Haley.
Well, Josh, unfortunately, first halves aren't optional. Another win, another second half comeback. What is it about you and this group that seems to thrive in those moments?
Yeah, I just think, we don't blink. We take every play, one play at a time, especially in the second half. Obviously, we'd love to get off to a faster start and not have to deal with that, but very happy for our guys. We found a way to get it done.
I know you have larger goals, but what's the satisfaction in at least holding off them capturing the AFC East?
Yeah, they still may get there. That's a really good team we just played, but not tonight. Not tonight.
Is there some power to maybe Dawson Knox having his daughter this week, you announcing that you will soon be expecting in terms of the production we saw on this field?
I don't know about that. Obviously very happy and very blessed. I love my team. I love my wife. She's my favorite teammate.
Absolutely. Lastly, you know what it takes to win down the stretch here. AFC East aside, what do you like about the group you're taking into this stretch?
Listen, we're just going to continue to find ways. We're going to keep poking at it, keep trying to get better. Each week is just one game, one practice, one play at a time.
Not that you care, but you might be the most entertaining team in the league right now.
I appreciate you. Thank you. Go Bills.
Good to see you, bud.
Not only is he the best quarterback, he's the best spokesperson for a team. Number 17, Josh Allen, possibly league MVP once again this year. That would make this guy really happy. I did tell you that there is going to be some changes to After 9 coming in the new year, and one of them is going to be I'm going to include a little more sports. So stuff like that, you're going to hear more of it as After 9 continues to evolve. And after I take a little break over the Christmas holidays, when I come back in January, there's going to be a slightly new concept. I'm sort of reimagining the daily episodes. They're going to continue, but they're going to be a little less serious, a little less political, and a lot more topical, and it's going to include stuff like that. When it comes to the political stuff, I'm going to do some specific episodes on certain topics that people are asking about or that we need to talk about more. So it's a great plan, and I'm going to lay that out for you more as I get closer to the holidays. Friends, thanks a lot for your time. I appreciate you every single day. If you want to slide into my DMs and connect about anything you heard in the pod today or anything in general, hit me up at Scott Fox on Air. And if you're in Winnipeg tonight, 7 till 10 o'clock, I will be on Hot 100.5 playing the best of the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. If you're in Toronto tonight, you can hear me on Z1035 Toronto from 7 until 9 p.m. And right back here in the pod, brand new episode coming your way tomorrow. Have a great one. I'm leaving you with Pat James and the Whole Truth. Hey now.